Oh, wild. Okay, so we're live on everything but Instagram. And I don't know why. Okay, wait, there it goes. Okay, cool.
It's
All
just a
right.
delay.
Yeah, there was just a delay. All right, well, awesome. So welcome to Run Wild with Us, Ask Us Anything. Brand new year. Woohoo! Welcome 2026. Although it's already been fraught with tons of chaos, but that's okay. That's okay, I guess. I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm the founder of Running Wild, which is now Running Wild Rise, Trompe l'oeil, and Junkyard Rooster. And I am here with some of our amazing peeps from behind the scenes, including the fantabulous Cecilia Kennedy. To my, let me think about this. My right, I guess, technically, or I don't know, whatever. She's the other person on the screen right now. And we should be joined shortly by Peter Wright and Ben White, two of our acquisition editors. Oh, we've got Ben. Yay! Cool, cool. Awesome sauce. I was just introducing ourselves. I don't even know if that's a word, but hey. Hey, Ben White. What's going on, young man? What, you don't want to be still in the dark white? Did you turn down your light?
Look at you starting a minute 40 early. Or am I
How
a minute 40 late?
I have no idea, man.
Okay. You've been sitting here all day, haven't you?
No, not really. We were just talking about how we're already in the new year and how weird it feels. So yeah.
Everything's 2025 with a cross and a 6.
Kinda, yeah. Or like a big eraser.
Yeah.
You can see the eraser mark on it. Like, oh shit. Oh, I forgot. So how was both of your holidays? We haven't seen each other in a couple weeks, so I'd love to hear.
Well, it was good. I mean, it was relaxing. We didn't do much. We pretty much stayed home and watched a lot of movies. And now I can't even remember the names of the movies we watched, but we put together a puzzle, I think, at some point. And then for New Year's, we started a new tradition of doing PowerPoint presentations.
Okay.
We just did silly topics.
Okay.
So that was fun to get us all the way
rubber
to
chickens. Like, what did you pick as your silly topic?
So Alex, my son, he just put pictures of my husband on famous paintings. And it was hilarious, and set it to music. And
awesome.
then it was very funny. That was the funniest one. Nate did powerlifting because he's going back into powerlifting. And it was very informative about how he increased his goals, and we were, giving him a round of applause.
Okay.
I did, jobs you can find on LinkedIn.
Okay. You're like, now you get to work.
Writing advice you get on LinkedIn. Like, you've heard this before, right? You've heard write drunk, edit sober. But I'm like, either way, future you is really, really going to be upset. Has a lot of work to do either way.
Yeah.
You write sober or drunk, you still have to edit.
That's hilarious. So Ben, what did you do? What did your end of 2025, beginning of 2026 look like?
In between the fall semester and the official start of the spring semester, there's a 3-week course, and I'm teaching it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
no. So, and actually, you would think that no students would sign up for a 3-week class that covers 2 major holidays, but
no.
there's about 25 students in there.
Wow.
Yeah,
actually,
because
that's a lot.
It's a good deal. It's a 15-week course crammed into 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks, they've got the 3 credits. So it's wow. It works out good if you can just not disappear.
Nice. Oh,
so my job is to make sure they don't disappear.
Okay.
And this is actually the 3rd week. It started on the 22nd.
Okay.
Of December.
Cool.
So it's just a continuation of what I do.
Well, I think I finally got caught up almost on all the editing that I have to do.
Oh my gosh, I will never be caught up. Never.
I finally finished a memoir and essays that I've been working on for quite a while and handed it off to Double E, our miracle product manager. And I did a first round of edits on, it's actually an interesting collection of creative nonfiction and fiction written by a husband and wife whom we've published the husband a few times. Nice. And it's neat because it's because even though it's fiction, it's actually like all fiction. There are bits of the author in it as well, right? In the author's background. So it's kind of interesting how it flows out. And then I'm almost done. Ben, you would be so proud of me. I am almost done the novella anthologies, at least the first round. So
almost. I'm proud of almost. That's close enough.
I'm down to the last novella for the first round of edits, and then I'll go back to the ones that needed a little more than like a cleanup, and I'll go, and of course, and I was actually just telling, I was on a call with one of our authors right before this, and they were like, well, this one section you said, I still really like it. I don't want to take it out. And I was like, well, that's why I ask, why is it there? Right? Because if you've got a reason for it, then I want to support that. And then, we'll figure out how to make it work. But if you just like it, then kind of tough shit, right? That said, if you're like, we're keeping it, then we'll keep it. Yeah. And then it was like, okay, great. And I said, no, but you also need to understand that every time I've had this conversation with an author, and every time that piece went to like a Kirkus review or a Publishers Weekly or an indie review, like any of the majors, or like Forward Review, every single time in the review, they called out that exact same section and said, this completely broke the flow, or I have no idea why this is in it, or like whatever the conversation we had around that, it is every single time it's been called out. And every single time the author calls me, some in a panic and others like, oh my God, I can't believe that. And I'm like, well, there's a reason I gave you the feedback. I didn't just pull it out of my butt, I mean, I could have, but but I did not. So that's just like a heads up, kind of thing. Dr. Diane Schneider says, hey, Ben, you're a big fan. Man, I got to tell you, Ben, every single author who's ever worked with you, whenever any of them reach out to me, they're like, oh my God, I love Ben so much. And I thought, yeah, because when you say I'm not doing it, he goes, well, fuck you, I'll do it then.
That's not right. Yeah, that is.
You're like, no, I don't do that. Okay, yes, I do.
Yeah. I just call it a victory if they still talk to me after it's over.
It's because you're so polite about it.
Yeah, when we send it to Double E for production, if they still have my email, that's good. It's a victory.
And then Morgan Harris says, do your stories ever get edited by multiple editors, or is it just one? Wow, that's a great question.
That's a good question.
That is so actually a lot of authors, they'll hire their own editors before they even come to us. Mm-hmm. So I consider that more like a first round, if that makes sense. Or they'll have their buddies who are decent readers to go through it. Usually you only have one editor. Usually you're assigned one editor. Every once in a while, something will happen where an editor has personal reasons that they can't complete an edit. And in those cases, it'll get reassigned to another editor. So Dr. Diane says, Ben is such a gem.
Talk to each other and get advice from each other.
Oh,
so it's not necessarily editing the story, but it's, what do you think about this situation? This is what I've got. What do you think? So it's not totally in a vacuum, but so there's conversations that go on. And I have had one author who, after I went through and edited it, she hired an editor.
Really?
Yeah. And then that editor went through with it was more of a line edit, and the second editor went through without any consideration for the techniques or tools that the author was using. And so then we went back through it together, and we picked up on what that second editor had done from like I say, without any consideration for the tone, the author's writing style, the techniques and the tools they were using. And we rejected most of the suggestions from that second editor. And because they were good, they were good as far as grammar and English was, but it wasn't, it didn't match the creative flow of the piece, of the novel. Yeah. So it's not totally unheard of before, then we get it, and then after, Ben edited this, so I'm going to hire somebody else.
Oh my goodness.
But we're still talking too. That author and I are still talking, so it's good.
Well, that's good. Yeah. And actually, so to Ben, to your point, especially if it's something that we're on the fence about, we'll pull in part of our little editorial or editing community and say, hey, I got this going on, and I'm not sure if I should do this or something completely different, like, what do you guys think? Because I admit, I think we're, at least those of us who've been working together now, minimally 2 years, we're all so on the same page, right? Like, it's very rare that someone who's part of our team works on something and they give some kind of feedback to an author, and the author comes back to us and says, I don't know that I agree with this, and we go, oh yeah, you're right, you should use spell water WETR, just this. Typically what happens is we'll even without having talked to the editor who was in charge, we'll know what the intent was of whatever that change is. So we'll end up basically explaining it to the author, and in just in a different way to try and assist in kind of that collaborative effort. So
I remember
that's so rare.
It was a conversation, and well, actually, it's been a couple of times with a conversation on making sure that the cultural tone is right, and if it's talking about a different culture or a culture that the author may or may not represent, we just want to make sure that it's right either way. That it doesn't come out stereotypical or biased or prejudiced, and make sure that it captures the sense of that character's culture in the right way.
Right.
Now,
that's very important to me.
Oh,
It's got to be right. It's got to be true.
Now, the wildest one we've ever had, and I don't think I ever told you guys about this. We had an author who was not of a specific socioeconomic cultural background, but had a couple friends who were, and said, well, I've got this buddy who I want them to do the review from that perspective, right? And dang nabbit, I think I nailed it, right? And honestly, honest to God, anytime anyone's that adamant, for me, that is such a red flag, right? Including myself. If I'm ever coming into something and I'm like, dang nabbit, I'm right, I pretty much is a telltale that I'm probably completely wrong, right? And so I said, okay, fine, yeah, we'll hire him, whatever. So I go hire the third party, to us, third party, and not even a week goes by and she emails me and she's like, oh my God, this is so bad. And I was like, Oh, now mind you, I wasn't the editor on it, right? I was just, managing the conversations, I guess you could say. And she's like, so what do I do? And I'm like, well, you've got to give the feedback, but you can't just say like, oh my God, this is bad. Like you've got to be a little more specific regarding it. And that's in that conversation is when I found out that they actually were friends, and that so I guess the author just felt safe, providing it to her, and figured that because they're friends, she would just say, oh yeah, she nailed it. And so I honestly, I don't remember what happened to it after that. I know I provided the feedback, right? I said, you can't just say this wouldn't happen. You got to say what you think would happen, right? Or how someone would react to something like that kind of thing. I only remember the author was like heartbroken because she just swore up and down that she was right. God damn it. So I have to say, having that kind of review, especially if you're not of that culture, can be quite beneficial. So.
And Diane's here, so I'll mention it. We had some great conversations on the use of Southern vernacular in narration and in dialogue, and when it fit the best, and when it kind of got in the way sometimes in the narration, but in dialogue it's what was said and it's what was heard, and so it was again, it has to ring true, and that's that was the key part of our conversations in her work.
Well, and in actuality, I mean, dialogue is not intended to be verbatim. Dialogue is intended to be a representation of a conversation so that the reader has an understanding of not only the conversation itself, but also the situation and the environment that they're in, and what was the emotion behind it, right? And you want to have that come through in the language, you don't want to keep having tags where it's like, he exclaimed, and then put everything in, capitalization and have 5 exclamation points. Like, no, you need to.
It needs to convey information is what dialogue needs to do. Not just deliver speech, but give atmospheric and relevant information to the story. And
exactly.
If the words being used take the reader out of the story because it's perplexing or it's too highbrow language, that's deleterious to the story itself. You want to keep the reader sucked into the story using every tool that you have.
Well, and remember too, dialogue is a great way to develop characterization and to differentiate one character from another. So absolutely. Even if you're all came up in, came up in Southern New Jersey, since that's where I came up in, you're not going to have everybody using the vernacular of Southern New Jersey identically, right? Even if they all grew up on the same street, because we don't all speak exactly the same way. It just doesn't work that way.
That's the same exit.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. Hey, Peter, by the way, you all.
Hello. Long time no see. The other guy in the corner looks familiar. I haven't seen him for about 6 months.
I know, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, he's finally decided it's okay to be around us people.
Thank you for accepting us back into your circle, Ben.
I was here 2 weeks ago, but I had to take 2 weeks off.
I know, right?
So, all right, Peter, how was your end of 2025, beginning of 2026?
A blur. I swear.
Dude, you had that much vodka? Come on, man.
What's that?
You did.
No, I've had 2 days off for the last 2 weeks. I'm working a whole week this week. This sucks. I don't like this working 5 days a week stuff. If I get out of it, I want to get out of it. So, other than that, it's good to be back on track. It's good to be editing again. It's good to be focusing on other authors' words. And parts of me just wish that authors would listen to what I'm telling them, because fixing a sentence and forgetting the instructor, forgetting the advice that I'm giving them doesn't just apply to that sentence. It should apply book wide. If I say there's no place in this scene, we don't know where we are, it doesn't mean just in this scene. It means the whole book. And that's one of the biggest things that I find authors are missing, is that they see the environment in their head, in their imagination, and they forget to convey that to the reader. And environment is as much another character in the story as the characters themselves. It can even be more of a character because it has so much more possibilities for action. And authors that give me 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of dialogue, it's like, where are we, sir? Where are we, ma'am? I have no idea what's going on. And you pulled me out of the story because I'm thinking about the story. I'm not in the story. I'm thinking about it. And that's where I am. It's like I've been generously doing another round for this one book because I really enjoy the character. I really enjoy the book, but there are parts that just they completely missed my direction, and it's kind of disappointing. And I don't want to go through the whole thing again with fine-tooth comb because it didn't stick the first time or the second time. It's not going to stick the third time. So it's like I don't know honestly, what to do. I don't even know if I want to put my name on this book.
Peter, in those situations, honestly, I give them the high-level feedback and I ask them, "Can we get on a call?" And because I feel like there's some recommended revisions that could really make this story sing. That apply. It's thematic, right? It applies across the entire piece. That's what I do.
That's a good idea. I think I'll do that because I like this author. They just had a baby last summer, so she should be out of that by now. But they should be out of that by now. So yeah, I think I'll give them a call. I'm about 100 pages into a 400-page manuscript. I think a call might help.
Yeah, so, I don't know, Cecilia.
Good idea. Thank you.
Ben, what do you guys do? Design.
If they're not getting it, I do get in on a call and we start to talk about their intention. What is their intention as the author? And then we start to look at the rest of the structure. Is it working? And then that usually works when you have that big conversation, the hard conversation about what is this? Is this working? And when they hear it from you in your voice and you're looking at them and telling them this, it kind of sinks in a little bit more. I noticed that you're fixing things here, but it needs to be applied globally, or this background, this setting just isn't working. You may need to change it. The structure is the same, but you may need to change this one setting and work it through. Those are the kinds of conversations that I've had with authors, and it usually works. Sometimes they're not happy about it, but sometimes, once they do make those changes, they're like, okay, I do have it in a place where I like it.
How about you, Ben? What do you do?
Ben just yells at them, right?
The suggestion, of course, to say this is what's happening to your reader.
Right.
And in this case, I'm the reader, and it's first person reader. But I was just thinking the most recent one was a novel that uses a lot of the main characters' thought process of what's going on and how we got here and what it means to me, and a lot of inner discussion and inner revelations of what that character's feeling. And then when it came down, right when about the same time the author is really looking for something to happen real time in this story, this impact you've built up to, he fell back and the narration went back to the same technique. And so he's got to realize that the reader was not ready for any more of that. That's been done. It's been done nicely. It's been done effectively, but you're overkilling it now, and that got in the way. So that's a conversation I'm waiting here in the new year to wrap up. And but of course, a Zoom call or a phone call or some kind of additional contact we're always open to that. And see the author face to face, and even on a screen, it's still face to face kind of, and make sure that you're on the same sheet, and that our ultimate goal is to make their work better, and and make it work. And I think we're all good at getting that across. It's not about us. It's about the work. It's about what this piece that you're about to send out into the world. You want it to be able to stand alone and not raise any questions and frustrate your readers.
Exactly.
Sure.
Rodney Hatfield says, so what first sparked the idea to create a press that celebrates stories which don't fit neatly in a box? Was there a particular manuscript, a conversation, or a quiet moment of frustration with the larger publishing world that made you say, we need to do this ourselves?
That's a great question, Lisa.
It was actually, I guess you could say in retrospect, it was sort of a tiered moments of frustration and saying, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore. I want to say, like, the first, I guess, snippet was when I was working for a small online magazine, and I wasn't actually supposed to be one of the fiction editors. Honestly, they had brought me on because they said, well, you know everybody. And honestly, I'd already been around. I mean, I've been around this world for like 30 years. And at that point, I'd been around like 15 or something like that. And they were like, so you can help us find good stories. And I was like, in other words, call my friends and have them, submit stuff, right? And there was this one short story, and I was like, oh my God, it just blew me away. And it was so heartfelt. And it was based on how Asian immigrants were treated in San Francisco. And I was like, no one talks about this. This is amazing. And there were like 4 of us, and none of the others wanted to publish it. They're like, we can't do that. And I was like, well, why not? And they're like, because it's too controversial. And I'm like, but that's the fucking point. Like, it's really well done. It's a beautiful story. Like, that's the whole point. He's making it accessible by having it be fiction, right? And the man happens to know how to write, And so they finally gave in, because I can be incredibly persuasive, excuse me.
No.
And that actually then became, fast forward a couple of years, and I was literally on a plane from Breadloaf Writers Conference, and I was so pissed off. I was so frustrated. I was like in near tears, because not only myself, but several of my friends who I consider brilliant writers could not get a deal. Like, they couldn't get their short stories published. They couldn't get their novels published. They couldn't get their collections published. And I was like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I was so angry. And I just felt like I was at a point where I thought, I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. Right. And I picked up Hotel on the Corner, Bitter and Sweet, and by Jamie Ford, and I opened it, and that was actually the starting point for the short story that we had accepted to that small magazine. Was actually the starting point of Hotel on the Corner, Bitter and Sweet. Mm-hmm. So he credits me as having discovered him quite kindly. And here I am on, a Southwest Airlines flight, booger crying, because I'm like, oh my God, that was so kind of him. And I'm not a complete goober. And I thought, okay, so I know there's something wrong with the way things work right now in publishing, like the overall industry. I know things are broken, but I don't know what to do, right? So fast forward, I'm literally the first time hanging out with my now husband. We were just at a cafe, and I'm complaining to him about how I know all these great authors, and none of them seem to be able to get book deals. And if they do, it's, they're most of them at that time were going to self-publishing. And so he says, well, why don't you just start your own publishing house. And I'm like, wait, I'm allowed to do that? Like, that's a
Yay,
thing,
husband.
right? Hence why he's, obviously that's why he's my husband. He puts up with my shit. But so we spent the next couple of years just researching it to find out what was broken in the industry. And I used myself as the guinea pig for the first piece that we ever published, and to better understand, like, well, how does all this work? And then that became Running Wild. And the other big question I usually get around that is like, why Running Wild? I'm like, because I'm doing whatever the fuck I want. So we're not following the preset rules of the larger, industry. We're acknowledging that, we're looking for stories that are great stories, great writing, people who have something to say. And we have actually multiple platforms to make them come alive and get them out to people. So I don't know. So actually along those lines, because I've talked entirely too long, Peter, Ben, Cecilia, so what made you guys say, I want to go run wild? Like, what made you join this, half dash, half put apart, half pulled apart organization?
Well, I love words. They just make more sense to me than almost anything else in the world. That
I'm telling Kath.
What?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just love words. I love stories. I love making things sound better in your head from reading on a page or from reading on a screen. And given the opportunity that I was given, it's like I passed the test. And given the opportunity, I just really enjoy making things as good as they can be and not encroaching upon an author's voice. In fact, I like to elicit the author's voice more than they can actually hear it. Mm-hmm. And I see the gaps and the alleys that they're missing. And I'm saying, take a look here, put something in here. You're missing something here. You can add something to the story here. And I want to just not completely, but I want to embellish their story, help them embellish their story. So they get, like Ben said, make it as good as it can possibly be, mm-hmm. using just little suggestions and questions here and throughout the manuscript. And like Cecilia was saying, it's like asking questions like on a global basis. How does this little kernel fit in the overall story? Because in great stories, this little kernel makes a big difference, mm-hmm. And that is just utterly enjoyable to me because I'm making somebody else's work even better. And by making their work better, when I approach my work, I can approach it from a better, more rounded point of view, and B, from a more frustrating, this could be good right from the beginning point of view, which tends to halt the story writing altogether because you're trying to make it perfect on the first draft, and that's never possible. Mm-hmm. But backing off of that and approaching it from a more worldly view, more global view is very beneficial to my writing. Mm-hmm. But when I see I've seen some authors' work go from, B+ to A+, and that is just super satisfying to be a part of,
How about you, Cecilia? What brought you to us?
So it was a happy accident. I was an editor I'm still an editor at Flash Fiction magazine, and I have a writer friend who's there, and we follow each other on X, Twitter, X, and she had forwarded your call for editors. So I thought, that sounds great. I would love to do that. I would love to join Running Wild Press. I mean, just the name itself, I like to run wild. So, okay. I didn't even know anything about it. It was like, sounds good to me. And so I just sent you an email, and right away you responded, and there was a test, and I loved the test. And that's another thing that I wanted to bring up, because I'm a freelance editor. So I'm always looking for opportunities. And then there are some very icky hiring practices. I guess it's standard to have a portfolio of the things that you've edited with the comments, and I feel strange about sending that to somebody for a job interview, because that's your client, that's your author that you're working with, and I don't want to share those comments, even if the book is published. I just feel like that's a very private conversation that you have as an editor and an author, and you don't just share that with everybody, even if you take the name off or whatever it is. So I avoid publishing houses or opportunities where they're like, send me an example of how you give feedback. I'm like, why are you taking that manuscript to do something with it? Like, what are you going to do with this manuscript?
Yeah.
So I'm very suspicious of it. So I'm happy to take a test. And that was the thing here. It was a test. And I loved the book that I was reading, and I loved being able to give feedback. And then your follow-up question, I knew that I wanted to work there, because after you read my comments, you were like, these are really great comments, but I just have one question. Are these suggestions or mandates? And I'm like, suggestions? They're definitely suggestions. And I thought, this is the place I want to work. I definitely want to be an editor for Running Wild Press, because it kind of fulfills all of the things that I think it just checked all the boxes for being an editor. The privacy of the author's manuscript was still maintained. I wasn't asked to provide past work of my markups of someone's manuscript, and it just felt like it was on the up and up. So, and I've enjoyed being there, being here ever since. That was in 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we've all been here far too long. Okay, Ben, your turn. What made you decide to run wild?
To 2017.
Woo! Yeah.
And it started with that with my understanding of poetry not being published, and why it's not being published, because nobody reads it.
That's not what I said.
A very select few read it. And so my journey with Running Wild started with The Cuban. We've talked about it before, and it was a 60-something part narrative poem that I submitted as a novella, thinking there's no way. But and Lisa accepted it, and I sent her that email and said, "Are you sure?" She said, "Yeah."
Seriously.
And so it started there. Of course, the Cuban is a Russian who speaks Russian, German, English, and Spanish, and it's a very interesting character just because of the language he speaks. But it found a home, and then the publishing. The first book I got to edit was Legend, and right next to The Faith Machine, which were two very different novels. I said, well, okay, if this is, neither one of them fit into a box, and they don't even come close to fitting in the same container somewhere. But so they were very different, and that was appealing to get to work on both of that wide range of storytelling. And I think we all have that eye for a good story, and then the writing can be polished, always be polished, but the story has to have that theme, like Peter's talking about, that theme running through to keep you engaged in the story. It's got to be there, and the writing is just the tool that does that for you. And so it started there, and I took the test.
He did. He passed.
I might be one of the first ones to take the test, but maybe okay. Let me change the test because he passed it.
Actually, no, it was you. I asked you and Peter at the same time.
Okay.
You guys, and I thought you were both going to tell me to screw off, and so when you both went, no, all right, I'll take a test, and I thought, oh my God, they'll take a test. Holy shit, that's awesome. And then I thought, all right, what I give them, they're going to tell me, like, this is complete ludicrousy. How dare you? And you both actually seemed excited at like as Cecilia was describing, and I thought, wow, okay. And you want to actually talk to your author? That's amazing. Because I'd seen so many instances where, I mean, the editor was just like, yeah, okay, fine, look, oh yeah, and then they chop it to bits and they never want to talk to the author again. And it's like, wow, that's so not cool. And actually, I just had this, I had an author who we made an offer to recently. He wanted to get on a call to talk through the contract. And what he really wanted was he wanted to understand our editing process. And I explained it yet again. And he's like, well, what I don't understand is if it was good enough for you to accept them, why do you need to edit it? And so I gave him a couple of examples of stories that we had acquired, because we've had a lot, right? Where we've acquired them because we saw that kernel of something, that was magic in it. And, one of the editors who saw that kernel would typically is one of the ones who'll work on it, and they'll, help the author. I mean, a lot of it, it's, and I don't mean this, well, it can be a couple things. One, it's teaching the author how to make whatever that kernel is blossom, right? Because you can be a brilliant writer naturally, but you just haven't learned that aspect of craft yet. And it's not a big deal, right? That's part of the editor's role, is to act as a collaborator, as a mentor in many capacities, to help you, really find your voice and really bring it forward. And then, other times it's just like, dude, you've been working on it for 10 freaking years. No one would expect you to see it with a blind eye, right? No one would expect you to be able to look at it and not have some kind of an emotional attachment. So it would be very difficult in a lot of cases for the author to see that. So I went through and I'm explaining all this to the gentleman, and I think he finally got it, but he was like, wait a minute. So you guys accept stuff that it's not done?
It's done, but I mean, it has the right amount of words, and it has, the concept and everything that we like, but yeah, I mean, it can always be shaped.
Right. And actually, a lot of times that's it, right? And I think Peter alluded to it earlier. Sometimes an author, you've worked on that first chapter for a jillion times, and then you get tired of listening to your own voice. And so the middle goes blue. And then you're excited that you're almost done. And then all of a sudden it's got a tight ending, right? So
there have even been times when I have had a manuscript where I look at it and I'm like, this is so good. I don't even need to do anything to it. It's just proofreading. And I go to the author and I'm like, this is amazing. This is what I saw in it. And they're like, oh, that wasn't my intention. Oh, but what was your intention? And then you can work it out. So you don't know until you get a reader's feedback sometimes. You're like, oh, well, maybe we can bring this more to the forward, more to the surface, or that, or the other thing, and whatever it is. So then it ends up being more work than you think, but it always is fun work because it surprises you, and in a good way.
What I like are the authors who accept the questions and accept the criticism and accept the suggestions. Some authors are so closely entwined with their work that they're like, how dare you criticize my masterpiece? I'm like, dude, man, it's a work in progress. It's a draft. It's my 45th draft. Okay, so now we're on draft 46. It's not you. We're not criticizing you. We're not suggesting you need to be better. We're saying these words on this screen could be polished and make your message even clearer, make your images even stronger. It's not about you. It's about the book. The book, you are you. The book is this. We're working on the book. Mm-hmm. And the more they can realize it's just the book, the better the easier they are to work with.
Oh, yeah. And actually, some of my favorite, and Morgan will answer your question in a second. Some of my favorite instances are when the author admits later on that they were like, oh yeah, screw you, I'm right. And their spouse or significant other says, hey, do you mind if I want to see what the feedback is, right? And they read it and they're like, oh, honey, we need to have a talk. And they're able, but what I love especially about those instances, that significant other, that friend, that whoever, right, that they feel comfortable enough to share that kind of an intimate exchange between an author and the editor. They're able to explain it in a way that the author goes, oh, okay, I got it, right? And then they're able to actually transform the work in a way that they couldn't see it, you know. So Morgan Harris says, what is your favorite ever book Running Wild has published? So I'm gonna be Morgan. I think that is such an amazing question. I'm gonna flip it a little bit. There isn't a single book we haven't published that I don't adore, and because the whole reason we even acquired it, the whole reason we even as a team agreed that no, this needs to go to market, this needs to be in readers' hands, is because we really believed in the story and we believed in the author's ability, and said this could be insane, right? Like this could be absolutely incredible. My biggest frustration, to be completely candid, we have so many titles that both in genre and cross genre and hardcore literary, that when I read the final version, I thought, oh my God, this is groundbreaking. Like this is absolutely amazing. And for whatever reason, it just didn't get attention. And it's one of those, like, I don't, this market, this industry is so fickle. And so much of this is dependent on just being able to hit that, whatever that magic wave is that gets readers to pay attention all at the same time, right? And spread the word all at the same time. So then, you know, their buddies pick it up and their buddies pick it up and their buddies pick it up. To this day, I don't know what that magic, whatever it is, but that's my biggest frustration, because we really do have some, I mean, just the kind that, like, you read a chapter and, you know, you're laying in bed that night and that's all you can think about, right? Is because it was so well done. Yeah, so all of them, and I'm just frustrated that people haven't read all of them. I don't know, guys. How about you? What do you have a favorite? It doesn't have to be one that you actually edited, because that, you don't want to piss off all the authors you've worked with.
I think favorite is really subjective, because it's at the time they're all my favorite.
Yeah.
Going through it, because we have picked it out, and I know it's not a cop-out answer. It's really rewarding to see it in that pre-order phase, when first, you know, okay, it's getting to the market and it's got the cover done, and that cover matches I get that cover, you know, and it connects to what the work we did, and the interaction with the authors, it's beneficial for me to work with the authors and learn from the authors as we go through and hear their insights, and then share my insights as their reader and their editor, and what works and what doesn't, and I'll consider this and cut this or move this, and have those suggestions accepted or discussed. It doesn't have to be accepted, just discuss and say, let's leave it because this is what it's doing. But there are some books that we've published that I haven't read, but that I've heard Peter talk about. And when you hear Peter talk about a book that he feels really successful about, that's a favorite because you can see with your colleagues in the editing world that they got the book. Man, I wish I had that book because the way Peter talked about it, I wanted that one, and he always takes the best ones anyway. But so there's that. But I look back at all of them. I started with Legend and Faith Machine, and Something Is Better Than Nothing was the first memoir I had, which was a really twist because it was a coming home story from about a soldier, but it was from the wife's point of view, and she wrote it. And so it wasn't your typical coming home memoir, coming home from the war memoir. It was the receiving a soldier from the war memoir, which was different. And they all have that uniqueness that makes them good and favorites. Say, to go through and say, yeah, I edited that one, and it builds a body of work for the editor that you get to be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of all the books. What?
I was going to ask you next. So,
Okay, I'm talking. I'm proud of all the books I've edited, and I remember all of them. It's just there's this one book that stands out that scared the piss out of me when I edited it, and I remember almost the entire book. And the reason why I remembered it because I was hoping it would never come true. Fuck it, it came true. Scares the crap out of me. I mean, it's happening now. The book was Curtis Smith's Magpie's Return. And it's terrifying. And it's what's happening right now. And I remember that was the first book edited for you. And it's like, oh my God. And the writing was it was our maiden voyage. I've since edited 4 books of his, and they've all gotten better and stronger with each novel or each novella he's given us. But this one was just so real, so terrifying, and so gripping that I still remember the story, and I can still picture the final scene in the book. That it's like, oh my God. And I compare this to what happened on Sunday. I'm like, holy crap. I mean, this is now. And for fiction to become real, for fiction to become true, I mean, that's a hell of a leap. And for the writing to be that strong, I mean, I encourage everybody to pick this book up because we're here. Magpie's Return by Curtis Smith. He's a fantastic author, great writer. I'm sure he's a fantastic teacher, but that's the one book that I remember the most. And of all the books that I've edited, that's one that terrifies me the most.
Well, and full transparency, it actually was named one of the best books of the year by Kirkus Reviews, and
Right.
which is a huge, highly indicative of the quality of work of both Peter and Curtis. So
Curtis. No, I tweaked a couple things. This is Curtis.
yeah,
I don't
bite me.
take credit. This is Curtis's book. He's the author. I just made suggestions and asked questions.
Okay. So Cecilia, how about you? And then Lauren, I'll answer your question.
My to be read list is huge because I haven't read everything that Running Wild Press has put out. And I'm absolutely intrigued by all the titles that I'm hearing right now. So once I can get out from under my pile of books and manuscripts that I'm in right now, I have a lot to read. But you'll always remember, your first ones because it's the first time I've edited a longer piece of work. I always did short stories. So one of my first ones was Morlocks in the Basement, Carrie Colburn, I think it is. And it was a memoir that was unlike anything I had seen. I mean, it was kind of an essay memoir, but it felt seamless. It was supposed to be, I guess, disjointed, but it didn't feel disjointed. It felt like a seamless story. Even though it jumped through years, there was still some connectivity to it. And it was funny and also heartbreaking at times as well. So, and then also, it's my first time meeting with authors. And when you send that final draft off, you have your goodbye video, but it's not really a goodbye because that book lives on and, you still keep in contact with the author. But yeah, that was a really, really cool experience. Your very first manuscript that you do edit, that's full length. But I'm reading lots right now that I'm sure will become, that are actually my new favorites as well. I mean, they're all amazing works that are different and good in their own right.
So Lauren Lang says, I saw Short Story Anthology Volume 9 went up for pre-order. Is there a Short Story Volume 10 still moving forward? So the short answer is, Lauren, we try to do one anthology of novellas and an anthology of short stories per year. And Ben, so far, because I told him he had to do it, has been the short
just
story.
called me out because okay, I'm behind.
Well, no, I was actually going to say so, but so yeah, usually it's Ben, but if Ben doesn't want to do it, then we can always pass it on to one of our other incredible editors. But yeah, there's no intention of stopping the anthologies. Part of the whole reason we even have the anthologies is because it's a great way of finding new voices and encouraging them to either continue writing in that form or to write longer works. We've actually found a few novels and novellas that way. So that's a great question. And I'm assuming the next one is just complete spam. So I have no idea.
I'm working on
Yeah,
it.
I don't know how to answer that question.
Right. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. No. Oh, Lauren, don't feel sorry for Ben. He's got the short story anthologies. I'm the goober who took on the novella anthologies that I'm gonna have to pass on to some.
Yeah, Lauren, just be glad I don't do novellas. You should be looking for anthology 2.
Oh yeah, I did that. I did 2 anthologies. It took me, I think, 4 years.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm horrible at them because I'm just nitpicking, and nobody feels sorry for Ben. Ben's head is this big. It looks this big on TV, but it's this big.
Yeah, seriously.
Ego,
yeah.
And he earned it. So.
It's true.
He did. He totally earned it. Yeah. I realized just of the novellas that I've edited so far for the 2027s, I've already done over 200,000 words. Actually, probably closer to 300,000, and I'm not done. So.
Well, we know you don't sleep, so you got
right,
the time.
Exactly. I live off of caffeine and air. But don't feel bad for any of us. We all stepped up and said, this is what we want to do. So
love it. Yeah,
exactly. So, and these, yeah, I love everybody. So anyway, we've got all of 3 minutes left. So I don't know if anyone's got, or 2 minutes left. Oh, check that out. So I don't know if anybody's got anything that you want to talk about or bring forward, or if anyone watching, if there's anything you want to ask us, now is the time.
Well, while we wait, I've had this discussion this week about the use of song lyrics.
Oh yeah.
In a work, and it's any copyrighted material, but song lyrics are very particular because the songwriters don't get paid anyway, so they hate to see their stuff being used without being paid anyway, and so be very careful with the use of song lyrics without permission. You can work around it in your writing and just say, well, we sang this song, or they said they were singing this song, but without the lyrics. And if it fits and makes as much impact without the lyrics, that works anyway, and keeps the story flowing.
Mm.
If it's popular enough tune, enough people know it. Just giving credit to the songwriter, it'll pop in their head.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because usually it is a song that people know or familiar with anyway.
And there's a great point that I have some well-known author friends who what they said they do is, even if they know they don't have to, just out of respect, they'll reach out to whoever the writer was and let them know that they, and basically ask their permission to use it. So, which I think is, I mean, just out of respect, that's fabulous. So, Lauren says, can we talk about the LA wildfire anthology real quick? Thank you so much, Lauren. I love that you put that out there. I just put in the chat a link to it. So for those who may not be aware, we actually published a short story anthology of 27 short stories, and all proceeds go to Habitat for Humanity of Central Los Angeles. Like literally any funds that we get associated with this anthology is going to go to them. We have the ebook up, we have the paperback up. I'm working on getting a narrator for the audiobook, so hopefully we'll be able to have that out there as well. And I'm not even joking when I say one of our team members was actually directly impacted. Her house burned down from the wildfires. And she is still in a battle with the insurance companies and with the city to get everything done. And as someone who lost her home when my house of spending over a year just trying to get this resolved. I mean, you're already dealing with the emotional impact of losing your home, a place that's like your nest, and the impact to yourself and your family. I always joke, for at least me personally, when my house burned down when I was 20 years old, I still remember the volunteer who gave me like a packet of things to help me get through the night, and it included underwear. And in that moment, underwear, I like booger cried that, oh my God, I actually have another pair of underwear, because it was gone, right? Like those little things that you just don't even think about are suddenly have such a tremendous impact, right? So every little bit that we can do to assist those who are going through this trauma, both, emotional and emotional, financial, physical, we're more than happy to do. And plus, Ben called me out during a live stream and said, well, what are you going to do about it? And that's what actually got us to do the anthology. Well, it's true. So anyway.
You know what I mean? He earns the ego. He earns it.
He earns the ego. He seriously does. Totally. So with that, we are a couple minutes over. Thank you, everyone who gave such amazing questions. Morgan, Lauren, spam person.
Yay, spam person.
Yay, spam person. Rodney, Dr. Diane, you guys are all absolutely amazing. If you're watching, you think of something, feel free to join us next week. Same bat time, same bat channels. If you think of something and you can't make it next week, it's okay. Just go ahead and put your question into a comment section, and we'll respond to it the following week. So with that, love you guys. Happy 2026, and we will see you soon. Ciao.